those are the words that I'm just like, okay, everybody be quiet.
Right.
Like I was driving and I'm like, I got to pull over. We got to stop. Hold on a minute. What did you just say to me? Because it feels like she's speaking to a part of me that just wants time and space to stop and be like, listen, you need to hear these words right now.
We'll make it out and fall in love tonight.
This is the final episode of, I'm so scared to say that.
If you say that
I know. That's what
of the
happened last year.
right? Let me say it.
Say it.
How do we say it?
This is the last episode of 2024
Yes.
of the Steph and Craig show. Not really, though, because truthfully, we have a live episode that's coming up
that's
this
right.
Friday. So
Is it this Friday?
It's this Friday.
Is
Yeah.
that Christmas? What's this Friday? Today's Friday the 13th, so it's not. It's after. I mean, not when you're listening.
Yeah.
But when we're
Way to
recording.
throw them all off, babe. They're like, what's today? Friday the 13th? Is today the 13th?
I mean, today is Friday the 13th. I don't
1
think
week from
people
today.
are setting their calendars based off of podcasts. So I think it's
Some people, they're like, we got to tune into Steph and Craig
right. What
to figure out
day
what
is
day
it?
and time
if
it
you're
is.
following us for the day.
The time is
At the tone,
9:34.
the time will be.
No, but on Monday we're doing a live episode. It's a collaboration with Brave Men Dare, which is the other podcast that I host with a buddy of mine named Ben. If you don't know about Brave Men Dare, go search it out and find it. But what we're doing is a fun episode, a live episode on YouTube. So you'll definitely want to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And it's going to be Ben and I cooking dinner for Steph and Ben's wife, whose name is Jamie. So the two of them are going to get to chill and relax and enjoy. And we're putting together the menu as we speak.
Yes.
So I'm coming up with some ideas. We're going to like whole 9 yards. You're going to get appetizers, main courses, desserts, drinks.
The drink,
everything.
are we still? Yeah, I'm really excited
Margaritas,
about all
baby.
of it. All of it.
Get margaritas.
Right?
Yeah.
Who knows? By the time we record, I might just want straight shots. I might be like, shots. I don't know how it's going to go.
So it's a little bit of a Friendsgiving holiday celebration of stuff together, combined, all in conjunction with cooking. Because there's a show on Netflix, you know this, babe, because I watch it all the time, but it's Dinner Time Live with David Chang. And I'm a huge fan of that show as well as him. And so we're going to do our own little version of it for the Steph and Craig / Brave Men Dare finale for 2024. It's going to be fun.
Are you struggling with saying 2024? Or is it easy for you?
It's pretty easy for me.
I'm already here in 2025. I'm like, I'm already like at the final of 2025. I'm already fast forwarding next year.
Yeah, you're ready for it?
I mean, like my brain's making the jump already. So it's like we're at the end of 2024 and I'm hearing the end. And I know we're switching. So I'm like the end of 2025. So I'm like fast forwarding through a whole year. My brain's already like, oh, I'm doing that time warp thing to like, I'm trying not to, but.
Well, a few more weeks and you won't have to worry about it. You'll be there.
I'm talking about the end of 2025.
Yes.
So I'm
you're jumping a year from now.
I'm jumping a year. Yeah.
Wow.
I keep on saying for the final episode of 2025,
What do you think a year from now will look like?
I don't know yet.
We can't even guess anymore, right?
Yeah. Every year is so different from the last. Like everything is so different. I have no idea.
Everything's changed. Everything's changing. That's one consistent thing.
Right.
How are you doing with change? That's a terrible question to ask. You're like, how am I doing with change? It's a train wreck, it's a car crash.
Yeah. Some days I do well, some days I don't, but I'm not holding on. It's just changing and here we go. I mean, I have a pretty bad headache, so we'll say that's...
Do you need some caffeine?
Yeah.
I have a pretty bad headache. Have you seen that?
That's my go-to. I'm not at the phase of where I go to water anymore. I'm supposed to be. I was really good with water for a while, but now it's like, does my head hurt? I probably need some caffeine and some aspartame, and then I'll be okay.
Yeah. There you go. Drink it up.
Oh,
What's in that one? Is that the caffeine or the aspartame?
This is the aspartame.
The aspartame.
The aspartame. Yeah, this is just tea.
When you were thinking about this episode specifically, about us sitting down and recording the wrap-up episode for 2024, What were you thinking it was going to be about? Like, were we going to recap and highlights of the year, favorite moments on the podcast, favorite guests? Because we've done so many year-end.
Favorite guests?
Yeah, we've done so many.
Should we drum roll who the winner is?
Our favorite guest. Who won the best guest this year? We should totally give away awards.
We should. We should. 2025 is going to be an award show.
That would be so funny. Where we're like Ed for greatest guest speaker.
And I can't choose that. We'll have to let the audience pick, because I didn't love all of them equally, but I loved a lot of them a lot.
Yeah, we had some really amazing guests that we were really excited for this year and really, really grateful for. I was thinking, because the very first episode of the Steph and Craig show, it was us. Sorry, I was thinking that the very first guests of the episode were Matt and Ash.
Yes.
And I was reflecting back on those episodes because it was a two-parter with them. And I want to hit them up and have them come on again at the beginning of the year, because their life has obviously changed so significantly with a child now. If you don't follow Matt and Ash, they're our yoga teachers. They're the yoga couple. They're online. You can find them everywhere. They're authors. They've written these incredible books, The Inner Work and then The Inner Work of Relationships. And we just absolutely love them and their work. It's been super impactful for us in our journey in our life, and literally everything that I was just recollecting the other day, actually, on something that came from them, a teaching, a lesson, insight. And I can share that in just a minute, because it was actually really helpful for me in a moment just the other day. But they had a baby this year. And their son they named him Atreyu. And I have been geeking out like hardcore watching all of their fun content with their little baby boy. It's so super cute.
It's so cute.
So hopefully we can get him to come back on and catch us up on what life's like now with a brand new baby.
Right.
I think the last thing I saw, it was like 7 or 8 weeks old. So
oh my goodness,
a little 2-month-old baby.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. If you're not following them, where have you been? And go do so now.
I loved that episode we did with them. Yeah, we just had so many awesome guests this year.
Yeah.
Some that we're going to have come back on again.
Yeah. We've had one come back on.
Annabelle.
Yeah, that's right.
Those Annabelle episodes.
Oh, goodness.
Right? Yeah, they just changed everything.
Right. Well, because she's the only guest we've had twice. I guess 2024 we're gonna have to get
every single guest we've
had so many good ones
this year gave us something. Like there was
huge.
This exchange that took place. I don't know if I'm hoping that some of the guests feel the same way, right? Where they got something from us.
I hope so.
They were like every single one of them they gave us something.
Right.
It was so impactful. I should have done some homework ahead of time and pulled up like those episodes.
Yeah.
Because
well, we didn't know we were going here.
Yeah.
Or did you?
Have to. No, I didn't.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that we were going to go here.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, let's get out of here. I don't know what's going to do.
So to the guests that have been on this show, we love you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. So much.
Some really great episodes.
Yeah.
Tim Fletcher, Josh Conley.
Nick and Jess. Loved you. Natalie Deering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that there's more. I can't remember names off the top of my head, but
so many good ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is a great
right? And then we end, right?
This year's been great.
You're like, we're talking about how this one was going to be, and I was hoping it was going to be, again, we're like, going for light, we're going for fun. I was hoping it was going to be super fun and easy. I hope I don't have holes in my armpits. I just realized I did not check. I never raced. I don't. We're okay.
You don't have holes in your pits.
Sometimes you lift up and there's an eyeball. Like, it's just how it just like, you're like, hey. But
I like that sweater though.
Thank you.
Looks good on you.
Thank you. But I'm
still
pretty
keeping
tired.
This one light
well, I think we're trying.
Okay.
I'm also really tired.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I have an echo in my head.
Oh no. Is it the whole ear thing of like allergies and stuff?
I don't know. That head's pretty bad. But I'm just like getting that echo reverberation. So it's weird.
This will be fun.
I know. I'm like showing up with like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, we'll see if Stephanie has a panic attack by the end of the episode. She starts chewing on the microphone because she's been hearing her voice in her head. This will be interesting.
Right? This could be a funny episode.
Could be.
Here we go.
It could be a first.
I've never quite chewed on the microphone, but it's going to be a whole new level of ASMR. Here we go. That's how we're going out with this one. Just like.
You're really into ASMR.
Yeah. Well, it depends. There's a couple of ASMR artists that I love.
Yeah.
And there's many that I'm like, oh my God, skin crawl. Like, please stop ever. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
And they all kind of do that to you.
Yeah, I'm not, there are some, it's just not a genre that I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I see the benefit of it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I get the ASMR thing.
Yeah.
I get how that can be incredibly beneficial and healing and relaxing and calming for the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them do work for me, but
yeah,
the majority of them don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to always drive me crazy. I stumbled across one that surprisingly gave me the chills, the brain tingles. And then when I could find like the style that I liked, it really puts me in a relaxed state. It helps my over crazy brain when I'm just like, whoo, it helps it calm.
Yeah.
And so when I find something that can like help soothe me, yeah, I love it. I love ASMR.
That's good.
I love some.
Send in your ASMRs.
No. No.
Steph's a big fan. Send them to her.
No.
I was going to mention at the top of the hour as well.
At the top of the hour.
That you can always reach us by emailing info@stephandcraig.co, or you can just go to our website, stephandcraig.co, and do it that way too. But I want some more questions from people in 2025. Like for the podcast, I want more questions coming in. I really want to engage with our audience and what they enjoy, what they like, what they want to hear about, what they want to get into. And again, it's just, I know we talked about it on the last week's episode, but it's just showing up completely unfiltered.
Right.
I'm no longer interested in anything between me and how I show up in life. So I'm excited for that. I wanted to mention, because I did drop a little teaser where there was a teaching from Matt and Ash that came up for me the other day. And I was listening to some podcasts, and it was the whole idea around, it's kind of the twofold thing where one person's medicine is another person's poison, but it's also the idea that not everything is for you or intended for you, meaning there's some teachings, some messages, concepts and ideas that are out there. When they don't connect and resonate with you, it might not just be for you, right? It might be for somebody else, and it might not be for you where you're currently at.
Right. It might not be for you right now.
Yes. That's one thing that was standing out to me, was in the moment. And I don't remember exactly what I was thinking about. I know that doesn't really help because this is kind of an important concept, but there are certain things that I like, the way that I'm moving through life and the way that I see life today are based off of these bigger concepts and ideas that 5 years ago I would not even entertain. Like, they wouldn't even land for me. They wouldn't even be things that I'd be like, what the fuck? Get out of here with that. I don't even know what you're talking about, right? But today I'm very much incorporating those ideas and beliefs into how I'm moving through life. And it just brought that up. It was like, oh, I was experiencing this moment of reflection where I recognized that how I was viewing current situations was through a lens that, had I tried to view in the past, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't make sense. Did any of that make sense?
Yeah,
or did I feel like I talked around?
You talked around it a little bit, but it connect. Maybe it's just because I resonate with it on a lot of, it's like going back almost to, it's like to simplify it. It's like almost going back to a book that you liked. So you read it, you heard it one way, and it was like some self-help or whatever. And then a year later, you read it again and you're hearing messages that you didn't hear before. You can apply things that didn't seem like applicable at that time, or you just couldn't even hear. Now you're at a space where you're hearing it and you're ready to move that. Is that kind of where you're going?
Completely.
Right?
Yeah. And how important I think that is. Like, I think sometimes I get so critical about myself where if I don't, like, I'll pick up a thing that I introduce into my life, like ice bath, for example.
Yeah.
I did a lot of ice bathing like last summertime.
Yeah.
Was doing it on a daily basis. I've had periods of time when I've been doing it a lot. I totally believe in the benefits of ice baths, and I think that they're really healthy and beneficial. And I am not doing them right now. I'm not interested in getting in cold water right now in the slightest. And I think that in the past, I would judge that in myself, where I'd be like, "Oh, there you go, failing again, right? Not taking care of yourself, not doing the things that you said you were going to do," all of those kind of internal criticisms and judgments. And instead, I'm just like, yeah, that's a phase. Like, that's a thing that comes into my life sometimes and then goes, and that might come back and it might go again. Like, it's not failure. It's just the way that life flows. I've got things that flow into my life and things that flow out of my life.
Yeah.
And rather than looking at it as some sort of, inner judgment and criticism about how I'm not, letting myself down by not getting into an ice bath every single day. It's like, no, dude, it was healthy and beneficial and important when it was. And now there's other things that have taken that space. So if you haven't heard yet, we picked up Pickleball and we're having a blast. It's super, super fun. And if you haven't started playing yet, I hope that you do soon. And if you do, we want to help you by avoiding what we did. See, when we started playing pickleball, we just went on Amazon and found some paddles that looked cool. Little did we know, but they actually were hurting our pickleball game and holding us back from being the absolute best pickleball players that we could be. And when we found out that there was a pickleball paddle company here in Tennessee, actually not too far from where we live, we got super excited. Element 6 was started by a couple of brothers who were passionate about the sport and decided to go in and make their own paddles because they needed something that served their purposes a little bit better. Lucky for us, they're now sponsoring the podcast. And I can tell you from experience that their paddles definitely make a difference. The very first time I picked up their paddle and just held it in my hand, I knew I was going to be a better pickleball player as soon as I started playing with it. And it turns out I totally am. They have paddles for everybody, for the beginner, the intermediate, and the pro level. Head over to our website, stephandcraig.co, and click on the link for E6 pickleball paddles. I highly recommend their brand new one, the Torrent, which is what we play with. When you're ready to buy, make sure to use the code Steph and Craig. Not only will you save 10%, but the guys over at E6 are also going to send you out a free gift along with your order. So pick up pickleball, pick up a new paddle from Element 6. We hope to see you on the court soon. Not too long ago, I went down the rabbit hole of trying to find us some new clothes that didn't have all sorts of toxic stuff in them. I was tired of wearing synthetic material when I worked out, when I did things like jiu-jitsu and yard work and hiking and everything like that, because it wasn't really breathable and it started to stink a lot as well. Well, lucky for me, I found Woolly clothing. Woolly uses natural merino wool, and I'm a huge fan. All of their clothes are super soft and they feel really, really good next to your skin. Their clothes are naturally moisture repellent, so when you're wearing them and working out, it almost feels like it's cooling you off. They're also odor resistant, so they don't stink after you wear them. They have a great line of men and women's clothing, and if you've never tried merino wool, I highly recommend Woolly. I've got their boxers on right now. Every episode of the podcast, I wear one of their V-neck shirts. I'm really excited for when the weather starts to change and it starts to cool off a little bit, because then I get to put on my Woolly hoodie again. Head over to our website at stephandcraig.co and click on the link for Woolly. And when you're ready to check out, be sure to use the code Steph and Craig. You'll save 15% on your order. Show them some love and get yourself a great pair of merino wool socks or underwear, or boxers, shirts, pants, shorts, tank tops, workout gear, you name it, Woolly has it. Yeah, I've been really thinking about, I got a cough or sneeze or something.
That's
in the
all right.
back
Do
of
your
my
thing.
throat.
Do your thing. I relate with that. There's so many times that I would get stuck not practicing any of the skills and the tools that I had, because it's that all or nothing, that perfectionism, that wound of it. And whatever I got and like, oh, this is this thing, this is helpful, I felt like I had to always do that. And so it became I have to do this and this. Anytime I added something, it wasn't like, is there space for this or what's going to phase out? It was like, I have to do everything.
Have to just keep
all
adding.
of them, all of them. And I have to, so your whole like existence is one tool to the next, and there's no, like, you're not living at any point if you're like, I have to do this, I have to do this. All you've done is created this huge to do.
Right.
Like, maybe it's all these great to dos, right? But if you just stack all of these to dos, all of these healthy things that are helping you, and you can't not do one of them because you keep adding, or you can't allow yourself to add anything new because you have to keep this, then you're just like really boxing yourself off. But I would feel like if I didn't do this and this and this and this and keep, I was failing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I stopped and I didn't find something new, I was failing. So all of these things that, until it was like, what's good right now? What is helping me right now? And sometimes old tools, like old coping mechanisms, can come back in. Sometimes old tools come back and you're like, oh, yeah, I really need to bring this back in.
Oh,
right
I
now.
remember how good this one felt. Oh, I know. Now I remember. That's what yoga has been for me in the last however many days it's been, right? With this 75 yoga thing, where it's like, oh, yeah, this is why I love yoga. This is why I love being in this moment. Like, that's been something that I've really appreciated, where, you know, it's flowing back into my life and it's really building this muscle again. But I'm excited because I feel like it has been incredibly easy for me to just get on the mat every single day. It wasn't for like a week or two, and it's still challenging at times, but the freedom to just do it until I'm done, that's actually a message. Like, that's a teaching, a lesson, a thing that I heard, and we talked about it at some point on the podcast, but it was that story of the woman that goes swimming every morning, and they're like, well, how long do you swim? Like, do you swim for half an hour? Do you swim for like 5 miles?
And
you know,
she's
what's
like,
the,
what?
She's like, I just swim until I'm done swimming, until I want to be done swimming. And that was just so massively impactful for me, because being able to, we went for a walk the other day, and it was like, oh, we're just going to walk until we're done walking.
Yeah. And they challenged us because they have these signs
They
that are
challenged
like,
you. They didn't challenge
challenged me. It was like, here's a loop. Right now, I got to get into it. Like, here's a loop. The loop is this long, but the trail itself is this long. And so if you just do the loop, but it start in the, anyways, so the measurements were off. And I'm like, don't tell me the measurements, because we had done this part and then going to the anyways, it's like, you've only gone 0.2. Like, you didn't count the loop. Please don't give me measurements of how far we've gone, because then my brain's like, I need every step. I need everything calculated. If you're going to measure me, I want every step counting for me. You can't like, don't. And so
don't
it was
cheat
very
me
much
out of the 0.3 miles that I walked to get into the car.
I
right?
had to like consciously, because it brings that competitive. Am I good enough? Am I good enough? Have I done enough? And it's very much a measurable thing when you're in that, like,
anytime you can have something that is, like you just said, measurable to validate you, right? Something that
it's not a validate, is like, am I good enough yet? Am I good enough
validation
yet? And
isn't it?
Well, I mean, I guess it's validation if you make it, but I never make it. Like, it's always like, here. So instead of like trying to and even if it's a goal, if I happen to like, I have to get here to be good enough. If I make it, then I'm like, I really should have been here. Like, I moved that.
Yeah.
And so to stop moving that is been, so I didn't appreciate the measurements, because then we had that, like, we're gonna walk until we don't want to walk anymore.
Yes. And like that and again, it's just this like silly mindset that we're talking about, right? I'm not going to walk or I'm just going to walk until I'm done walking. I don't know how long it was. I'm not concerned about the steps. I'm not concerned about 15 minutes. I'm not concerned about, you know, the maximizing the performance of everything in my life in order to squeeze everything out of it to push me. Like, no, it's just being in the moment, experiencing whatever it is that I'm experiencing. Right. And that's a concept and an idea and a belief and a mindset that if you'd given to me 5 years ago, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. What are you even talking about? And it's when we were on that walk.
It doesn't even count if you can't measure it is how it.
Yeah.
It's like, does it even count if like the steps? I used to do all the steps, and if something had to charge, it was like.
Yeah, when you had to take your little pedometer off.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, I'm not moving until it's done charging.
It felt like I was, it was terrible.
But the guy that walked past us when we're on the walk, and his app, because he's listening to music.
Yes.
Which, by the way, if you're going to like walk in public, Don't listen to your music out loud or mute it when you walk by people. Nobody wants to listen to your music when you're out walking. I don't want to listen to your music. We're on a nature trail. Like your Creed coming through at 10:30 in the morning is not what I want to hear right now. So please mute your music. But because he didn't mute his music, I got to not only enjoy his music, but also hear his app notify him of his current update of you have walked 1 mile
Right.
and
I felt so bad for him because it was like, I felt so bad because just based off how mine, because it came through and you don't ever want if your numbers are really great, which his was not, as mine was never, but I never would have wanted my notifications to go off.
you don't want the app to announce you have walked 1.6 miles.
Well, it was like you've got
in 46 minutes.
Right. It was so, and I'm like, that sucks. I felt for him. Like as soon as it's going off, it's like, this is like, it has taken all you have had to make this short little distance. I'm like, man, I don't want that. So I felt for him in that moment. I'm like, of course it would go off when you're
as you're
with
walking
somebody.
past somebody. Well, that's what he gets for listening to his music. If he'd had his headphones on, we wouldn't have heard it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that anymore. I feel bad.
Anyways, it highlighted because that was us, 5 years ago.
Right.
That was very much, I had those apps.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had had that same day, I would have been doing that same thing. Like if we would have gone for a walk.
Would it have been out loud or would it have been, would you have had headphones on?
But I would have tracked it all. I would have timed it all. It would have been in conjunction with something. It would have been checking off the list. Okay, I did my 1.5 miles, today. And I really enjoy doing this other thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy just living this way without that pressure. It just feels like self-imposed pressure. And this feels like freedom.
It's really interesting, babe. It's really interesting. As soon as you, because you shed light on a few episodes back for me about, because I was like, what day are we on? What day are we on? What day are we? And I was counting. I still need to always have that. And you're like, I'm not doing that. I'm just marking like when the 75 days were.
Oh, for the yoga?
Yeah. And that was just at that moment, I'm like, wait, what? It freed up so much like time and like effort. So many tasks came off. And then what has happened since then is I have no idea what day we're on.
Right. Have we done 17 days of yoga?
Yeah.
Have we done 30 days of yoga? I don't know. And it's this neat thing that's happened. It was like, I don't care. Mm-hmm.
And it feels just like a flow now of whether it's on the mat. Sometimes it's in the kitchen. Sometimes like it's in the bathroom. Like I'm doing yoga where it comes up, but it like fits into the day naturally now.
Yeah.
Sometimes at night, there's been some nights where,
Sometimes
I'm ready to go to bed and I'm like,
mat.
oh shit. I'm like, you just go do a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, and so not having, it has to be this much. It has to look like this. It has to have the measurements. What day are we? And taking all of that off has brought in such a natural flow that has become effortless. So I'm doing yoga, I'm doing weaving that just fits, and it just like it flows. I'm feeling the benefits, and it doesn't even feel like I'm not saying it yet because as soon, I know how my brain works, but it feels really, when I've done challenges in the past, when I've been really like on the challenges in the 30, because I love challenges. I love them. When it's like the online challenges and they're coming on like, we're going to do 30 days of this, you're going to get on your, like, I'm like, sign me up. Like, I love challenges because they give me that. But then when the challenge is over and I'm like, it just stops. It's like 30 days of this, I got it. Day 31. And then that habit takes over to where I haven't done it again in a year. But there's something different about the way this is going because I'm not tracking the days. I'm not doing it that way, that it just feels like a natural part of my day and not a hyper fixation on it. It's just, it's hitting different. It's hitting different in a way that I haven't experienced it before.
Is it surprising to you?
It's really surprising.
Yeah, I don't even know if we could explain it because I feel the same way, where it feels like a part of me that used to need that structure and control and checklist and that thing of like, okay, if I'm going to do this, then this is what it looks like. And I'm going to accomplish this goal. And I'm going to set up this calendar. And I'm going to do this program. And I'm going to follow these steps. And I have to do all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the result, very similar to what you were just saying, was like, you finish the 30-day challenge and then you just fall back into the old pattern and routine. And this feels like a game changer. Like this feels like a complete shift where it's freeing me up to be more present in the space of doing what I want to do and being with that, rather than feeling like, okay, I've got to get this done and I've got to hurry up and get this done because I've got to then allow for the next thing and then the next thing, and then just continually, checking things off a list until we fall into bed at night to only repeat again the next day. And this is like, oh yeah, I got it. Yeah. I mean, I don't even have to think about, did I do yoga today? I know I did because I just do it.
You just do it.
Yeah. I just find time whenever I want and do it.
I love that it's working out that way for us. Like this kind of method wouldn't have worked for us 5 years ago either.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Last week. I'm just kidding. Last week we were here, but this is a new one to be able to get into this flow that would not have been accessible if for me, at least, if I wouldn't have been like tracking the days, doing it this way, hitting that hyperfixation, I would have forgot. Like, but now it's just, it's what's working. And so that's what's
working is important. That's the thing that I was going to say was there was the people that we were that needed that structure couldn't have done it this way. Right. And just as soon as we recognize there's a different way, like it's not as soon as we recognize that there's a different way, but the versions of us today that are able to kind of move through life this way had to go through that phase to get to this phase. But it's not necessarily, I don't want to say that thinking, I don't want people thinking that like it's this linear process where you have to have this structure to get to this. This is just our path, our journey.
Right.
And I mean, we're talking about the similarity between this experience, but at the same time, yours is really unique to you because how you're navigating it. Yeah, we've got some similarities in what we're doing right now, but it's also very, very different.
Yeah.
Like my process is vastly different than your process.
Which is also nice to be able to have our own space and grace and processes for ourselves. And I did benefit like from your process because I didn't think to do it this way. I was very much, I already had a sheet. I already had a chart up with 2 colors of dry erase because I'm charting each one different colors. They were color coordinated. I was already doing my thing. And so it didn't even occur to me just to, and you go, whoa, let's do that. So it's interesting. Yeah.
It is very interesting. I'm having a lot of interesting moments in my life right now where I'm recognizing shifts in how I'm doing things. And they're just almost like instantaneous. They're almost just like, oh, I can do this now. I don't need permission. I don't need anybody to tell me how. I can just do these things. And I think it's stemming from this really long process. It might seem really simple right now, but the truth is it's been leading up to this for a long time, for years and years and years of being, it's not just being responsible, it's not just being accountable, but it's recognizing that I have me.
Yeah.
And that feeling is what is the core of all of it, where that recognition of if I want something, and it's not even it's not a thing. It's not like a new thing. A new pair of shoes or a hat or whatever, right? It's not a physical object, but if I want to shift and change something up in my life, I can just do that. And I don't have to run it past anybody. I don't have to check off it. I just do it. And I don't think I felt the freedom to do that ever before. And it's not even like the freedom to do it. It's the belief in myself, I think, to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Keep talking.
But it's an interesting thing because it feels way more than just like being responsible or being an adult. It's not necessarily those dynamics. It's not like, well, I take care of things and I'm, like, who else is going to take care of this?
Yeah.
That's part of being an adult, is you have to be responsible and take care of things. And I've been doing that. Like, I got that message, right? I understood that assignment. I'm a responsible person and a responsible adult and everything like that. But that's not this thing that I'm talking about. I don't even know if I can really, maybe we can totally flesh it out. Let's see.
Maybe we can.
Because it's this, I think that there was like, I've had this understanding that I have been, gosh, babe, I don't know. Help me out. What does it sound like I'm talking about? I don't mean that like what I was about to say, but like this concept of showing up for yourself. And it's not just showing up for yourself. It's like, as soon as I have an idea of something that's going to feel good for me and help me, even if it's something that might be hard for me to do, I just do it.
I could sum it up for you really easy.
I would love that.
Really easy. And it's really beautiful.
Let's
and it's something that you have been practicing and going and leaning towards. And now you're, for lack of better words, like reaping the benefits of, like the effort is now, like it's
harvesting.
Here. You have learned how, you've built a relationship with yourself. You've learned how to trust yourself.
Meet my own needs. That's what it is. It's the reality of like, oh, these are my needs and I can just meet them. And it's all of my needs from the top down. And that's the thing that I'm trying to communicate and express. And that's the thing that has really shifted in me, where I wasn't placing my needs on, not just onto other people, but onto other experiences. Like, this need of mine that I have will be met when these things happen externally outside of me.
Yeah.
Right. Lately, I've been talking about how I want a group of men around me, a group of good men around me that I can talk to, that I can open up to, that I can connect to, that I can, I want a group of good, kind, loving, supportive, awesome men around me. And I don't want it like in this, oh, I've got a bunch of guys. And no, I want it to be very deliberate about, I want an inner circle of men around me that are my fucking guys. And I've wanted that for a really long time. Yeah. That's not something that like just came out of the thin air.
Right.
It's something that I have very much wanted. And in the past, I would think about it through the lens of like, well, I have to meet those men. It's like all of these things the stars would have to align in order for that to happen, for me to be able to start to even get to the point in my life where I can cultivate that or create that, or like I couldn't understand how that could happen, but I knew one day it would happen. So I was placing it out there into the space where, that need that I have will be met at some point in some way. And I don't really understand how, but something's going to happen. And then that, oh no, I'll just do it. Like, that's a need, that's a want that I have. I can identify it. I recognize it. And I can just go, hey, dude, I like you. You're a friend of mine. I want to be like, you come closer to me. I want to move closer to you. I want to be more in space with you and connected with you. And I don't have to wait.
Yeah.
I can just meet all of my needs now. And that has been, as now we're kind of contextualizing and I can sit with it. I mean, that's a fucking shift.
Right.
Because that's like healing codependency.
Yeah.
That's changing up all of these things of,
you're healing and working on secure relationships and showing up insecure and gravitating and like, it's amazing watching you. Yeah.
But I don't think I've fully understood what this is until, I don't think I even do now.
Yeah. That's okay.
But it makes sense from this perspective of like, I'm able to meet my own needs now. And I do have a part of me that is incredibly judgmental and critical. And it's really funny. inner part of like that ego voice inside of me, that super inner critic part that immediately starts picking this apart. When we're podcasting, I will project that voice out into the audience.
Oh, right.
Where suddenly the people that are listening and they're hearing me talk and they're like, this fucking guy.
Right.
Oh, congratulations, 44-year-old man finally met your needs.
I know.
Oh, look at you, big adult guy.
We sure make them
Good job.
so mean.
Right. And I'm like, who's listening to this podcast?
Right.
Some asshole out there.
Right.
Fuck you. Turn this off if you don't like this.
Right. Instead of
this
like,
isn't for you.
it's like we find ways. What did that? Oh, I'm forgetting her name. The girl we just listened to.
The Brianna West.
Yes. It's like she said about how you're projecting that out there, and like it's how you're judging yourself, but you're finding ways to shut it down before it even starts.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And
I have those parts too. I get it.
But that feeling, as we speak about it now, of recognizing that I'm learning, not just learning how, like I've learned how now, and now I'm implementing the practice of meeting all of my own needs. But also fully recognizing that my needs can't be met only by me. So those ones that I need other people for, I have recognized that. And now I'm deliberately choosing who those people are that are going to be meeting those needs for me, right? Rather than just being like, yeah, you know, all the codependency stuff that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Because I've been placing a lot of my needs at your feet.
Well, we both have our codependency.
I want to talk about that gal or that woman that we listened to on the podcast,
Sure.
Brianna West, unless you had something else. Because it was a episode of Rick Rubin.
The Tetra something.
Yeah.
Tetra Targaryen.
Targaryen.
Tetra Targaryen.
How's Targaryen podcast with Rick Rubin? And I feel bad because I don't even know for sure if that's her. It's Brianna, but I don't remember how she pronounces her last name. So I feel bad if we're mispronouncing her last name. But it's Brianna West or Weast. I'm assuming it's West. But I apologize in advance. Anyhow, go listen to this episode. And it's Tetragrammatron. Or Tetragrammaton.
Is it Megatron? Is it Transformers?
It's Transformers with Rick Rubin.
What's the dragon show?
It's Tetragrammaton. And it's a great podcast.
Tetragrammaton.
And this woman is an author. And she's
got so many books.
It's not like an unknown person.
Right.
It was just somebody that had never come across our field of vision yet. And
it was kind of cool, like how we recognized the significance of it, because she was echoing messages that I was giving you, that I was like all wrapped up in this book that I love, that I've gone back to, and
The Big Leap, right?
Yes, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, also fantastic, and that's one of the books that I've gone back to, because it's saying I've got this from it, and then as I've journeyed, and
we're probably a lot like you, where we had some pans that had been kicking around our kitchen since we met, actually. They're over a decade old, and it was time for them to go. Lucky for us, we found Heritage Still. Heritage Still offers premium cookware that's made right here in the U.S.A. It's actually made here in our backyard in Tennessee. We ditched our old pans, and we got ourselves an entire set of Heritage Still. All of their cookware has 5-ply construction, which gives you superior heat distribution and retention when cooking. They also offer a lifetime warranty, which is really hard to find nowadays. Their cookware is versatile for all cooktops. We have a gas range, and we absolutely love the way our Heritage pans heat up. They're chemical-free, oven-safe, easy to clean, and Heritage Still is committed to sustainability. They use environmentally conscious practices when producing their cookware. For listeners of the podcast right now, you can save 10% on your order. Head over to heritagestill.us/Steph and Craig, and don't forget to use the code Steph and Craig at checkout to save that 10%. Hey everybody, you know how we're always talking about healing together on the podcast? Well, today's episode is brought to you by a new company that's going to help you do exactly that. They're called Our Ritual. Whether you're looking to grow individually or as a couple, Our Ritual offers up personalized pathways designed by their research experts and therapists, all with the focus to help you unlock a deeper connection with yourself as well as your partner. You get full access to not just the therapist, but video exercises and other tools that are going to help you on your path. All of that for far less than regular therapy. So if you're looking for a flexible and affordable way to level up your relationship, check out Our Ritual. Their website is ourritual.com. ourritual.com. Head over to ourritual.com right now and take their quiz. This is going to help you personalize the experience so that you get the care and help that you need the most. Our Ritual offers an alternative to traditional therapy and makes it more affordable, more accessible, and a much more engaging process through their user-friendly platform. Right now, listeners of the podcast can save 20% on their first month. Simply use the code Steph and Craig 20 at checkout. Again, that's Steph and Craig 20 and save 20%. Their website, one more time, is ourritual.com. You and your relationship are worth it.
Healed and just move, like it's hearing different things are hitting differently, and I can implement more things with more tools. And so it's one that it's like you get to keep reading, the book grows with you. And I love it when books grow with you. Some of them are just, it's really magical when authors can do that. Or maybe it's, maybe it's a journey thing. But anyways, I was saying things
I think
to you.
Podcasts are the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I've gone through phases where I'm like massively consuming a podcast, really into it. And then I kind of stop listening.
Yeah.
And I always have this like codependent part of me that's like, you're really letting them down by not listening to the podcast.
I have felt that too. When I've stopped listening, I'm like, funny? You suck. You've betrayed them.
I know.
I'm like, whoa.
They're going to hate you.
They don't even know you exist. But I'm like, yeah, it feels so shitty, especially if it's somebody we know or we've had on the podcast.
Right. And even if it's not, even if it's like I was listening to every single episode of Glennon Doyle's podcast.
Yeah.
For like a year and a half or something, right? I didn't miss an episode. And I'm not listening to their podcast all the time now. And I'm like, they're so mad at me.
She mentioned, I'm just kidding. I was going to like.
They did a whole episode actually about how Craig doesn't listen to their podcast
hold up,
anymore.
We had a pretty consistent and it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
No, and it's just like, I think it's that thing of like, we don't want to let people down. That.
It's straight codependency, baby. Okay. It's not a kind thing.
Well,
of
I can say how like it's a wound of like, I feel like my whole story is how I'm failing everybody. I'm failing everybody. Mm-hmm. I'm failing. If I'm not showing, and you just can't. So when I get it reiterated, reverbalized back, and then it's just like, it's really easy for me to, anyways, I guess we don't need to spiral out there, but yeah. Like
so podcasts, I feel like are the same way where they come in and out, and sometimes I'm in the flow. And so it's very similar to what you were saying about books, how some books stick with you.
But it's just, I see it just slightly different, just a little bit, because the book itself doesn't actually change. It's the same conversation. I'm revisiting. It's like if there was one episode of a podcast that you kept going back to.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
kind of thing. And so it just hits a little different. But I was saying like things that I was learning, right? It was inspiring me, and it really came into space to where something really difficult was so this book has helped me. It's like it was coming in again when I really needed it before something like very difficult for me happened. And so something that would have just like taken me out, because I've had this come in again, I was able to like, I'm still moving, but I was seeing it with you. I was seeing things in you that was like this, and I was getting to speak it and being like, oh, like your zone of genius.
Oh yeah. From your
like,
Big Leap book.
Yeah. And so I was like getting to be like, give you these nuggets of, this is what I'm seeing in you. And I love like sharing things like this with you. And then she was talking about the book and started saying these things, and you were already vibing with what she was saying.
Well, that was the thing. As soon as she started using the same verbiage, and next thing you know, and I'm like, baby, because it was a conversation that you had filled me in on like the day before.
And so I just, the synchronicity of it, of this one book that's not even her book, this one book that is like moving me, that I'm talking to you about, that you pick an episode of the, the synchronicity of the universe,
what's
like
even
pulling in
crazier?
that space was pretty
Like
cool.
another layer for you, because I haven't shared this with you.
Oh, what's that?
You know that I told you that I was connecting with Nick and talking with Nick, right?
Yes.
And it's Nick Edgar. If you go back a few episodes, we had Nick and Jess on. They're a couple from the UK that are doing great work over there with all the stuff that they just came out with a new podcast as well. But anyways, I was talking to him and I was telling him about, I think I was telling him about this podcast that we're talking about right now with Brianna, but that book they had just referenced like the day before or something, like on the last episode of their podcast, where they had talked about, because as soon as I brought up Zone of Genius in that book, he was like, "Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, we know that one." And we were just talking about it.
Okay, if you haven't read The Big Leap, go get it. Like, this book is.
Yeah.
And if you're reading it right now and you're listening to us and you're like, "Oh my God," like, share it. Tell us.
Yeah.
Are you here with us?
I wanted to bring up, because we're talking about this woman, this author, Brianna, and I want her to come on the podcast next year. But what's significant for me that I wanted to highlight, I mean, go listen to this episode of the podcast that we're talking about with her when she was on Rick Rubin's show, the Targaryen tetrahedron. That's not what it's called. I feel bad. I'm minimizing it. It's a good podcast.
I'm really sorry. I am too.
But
I apologize for that.
It's just because we can't remember how to. So this is the one that I wanted to highlight. Anyways, I had to find her post on social because I couldn't remember any of the things that she was saying right now in this moment. I'm talking about this podcast that was so impactful for me and the words that she was saying. But we were talking about this last night. And what I recognized was when we have these moments where we hear something that someone says and it's like, wait a minute, what did you just say? Because it hits in such a way where it resonates with a part of you that almost like hears it for the first time. And yet when that part of you hears something for the first time, instantaneously it lights up and connects a bunch of other parts of you. And what I realized was that's what it feels like for me when it's like when I'm on the edge of growth and I'm outside of my comfort zone and I'm expanding and I'm growing. And then I come across new people that are not necessarily in the same, I'm not talking like she's in some sort of same space that I'm in when it comes, she might be, right? I feel like there's a lot of people on a journey right now, and a lot of people are unpacking and processing very similar topics and things. But I'm on this edge of growth for me right now, and I come across this woman and the things that she's saying are hitting the part of me that is out there on the edge of growth. So it's like, what? And then it has to like catch up as it comes back to the rest of me that's like here in my comfort zone. And I'm like, I kind of understood what she just said, and it spoke to a part of me that immediately knew that it was truth and that I needed to feel it more. Like she sparked a thing inside of me that was like, listen. That is what you need to be hearing right now, right? It's speaking to a part. So it feels like information that I'm getting when I'm on the edge of growth. And that's kind of what that type of information feels like, where push pause, rewind, and we've had moments like that on the podcast with people, some of the guests that we were talking about earlier, where like, hold on a minute, you just said something.
Right. I like that we do that now. For me, I used to just like, if I would hear it, I wouldn't stop the conversation. I would just be like, and then I'm probably not listening to the conversation because I'm trying to,
put together
go
the pieces,
over. I'm like, or it's like, I'll remember that.
Yeah.
And then I don't. So now it's like, wait.
Right.
Wait. That was big. We're going to interrupt the whole flow. Or if the book, like pause, like we keep pausing, rewinding so it can hear it again, giving it a chance to really ignite that part that is hearing it for the first time. And maybe it might be hearing it for the 56th time, but the first time that it's really coming through and resonating. That's like.
This is one of the things. This comes from one of her books, I think. She's an author. She's a poet. She's got a bunch of different things. So I don't know for sure exactly where this comes from, other than right now I'm reading it on her Instagram. So go follow her on Instagram, Brianna West. And they're like, yeah, dude, everybody follows her.
Right.
You guys are we're sorry if we're a little late to the game, but for whatever reason, she's come into our field of vision at this point of time. And I'm very grateful for it. One day, the mountain that is in front of you will be so far behind you, it will barely be visible in the distance. But the person you become and learning to get over it, that will stay with you forever. And that is the point of the mountain.
Right? Like that one got me. When she said that on the podcast, I'm just like bawling.
Yeah.
And I had to like keep playing it because it was like, oh, wait, what? Like that's like a little nugget that changed. I love that one. I love that that's one you picked.
Yeah. Down in because obviously it continues down into the caption, right? This is your reminder that whatever is in front of you will one day be behind you. Everything is temporary. Everything passes, but it's within this moment that you have the chance to see something differently, to do something differently, to change.
Yeah, right?
Get out of here, right? Those are the words that I'm just like, okay, everybody be quiet.
Right?
Like I was driving and I'm like, I got to pull over. We got to stop. Hold on a minute. What did you just say to me? Because it feels like it, like I said, it feels like she's speaking to a part of me that just wants time and space to stop and be like, listen, you need to hear these words right now. And then as we were talking more and more about it last night in bed, it was like, it connects something in my brain. It's like the neural pathway, the synapses of two different things converging inside of my brain, suddenly connecting and lighting up. And then a whole other part of my brain just going like, feeling with that light and that energy. And suddenly I'm like, you're expanding things.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, that's what it made me really think of, is it's like, this is me on the edge of my growth right now, outside of my comfort zone, growing and expanding and evolving and receiving fucking communication from the universe through the form of, not my phone, but this woman, right? The things that she's sharing. I love people. When I was listening to her, she very much was giving me those same Liz Gilbert vibes, where the people that are able to, it's not even just speak their truth, but they're able to share the truth of what's coming through them, through their experience, right? Where it's like, the channeled information that flows through them, whether they're authors or, however it does, that's the stuff that I'm just like, I can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
It's just like manna from heaven. I just want more and more and more of it. But, I don't want to say it's few and far in between, because I think that process of people getting it out of the way and letting, creation flow through them and sharing it with the world, I think happens in all sorts of different beautiful ways. It's not just through the words that we share and use and things like that. So I think it's happening all around us all the time, and people are sharing it in so many different beautiful ways. But at times it's like, I know that I can't always hear it.
Yeah.
I can't always resonate with it. Like this is that quote or the meme, the thing that we just read from hers. I mean, that's if you hear that at certain points on your journey, it not only does it not just doesn't resonate, it's like it's just not for you.
Yeah.
Because you're not at that point of your journey.
And that
information
might be
that you need at this phase of the, she's talking about the mountain that is so far in the distance. If you're at the very beginning,
see it. Yeah.
Like if you're at the trailhead of that mountain, you're not, you don't know what it feels like to be on the other side of that thing. But you need help figuring out how to tie your shoes and get, the first half mile done. Right. Not the fucking, oh my God. That's what I feel like we have. That's why that one felt so impactful for me, is because I feel like I can look back and see some mountains behind me.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right?
That just became a whole new metaphor that I'm not going to share right now, but just like.
Yeah. So hopefully with any luck, she'll be on the podcast next year because I want to hear more of her words.
I definitely want to hear more of her words. And I'm still like ingesting all of her stuff or
consuming all of it. Yeah.
Right. Not even to the digesting part. I'm still trying to like, what?
I know immediately I like got done with that episode and I'm like, where else is this woman on podcasts?
And I went for her books.
Right.
You did the podcast and I'm going for the books.
I like to consume via that. Right. So it's exciting. I really feel like as 2024 is coming to, I don't want to say it's coming to an end. Or
2024
anything, right?
Is coming to an end.
Right. I don't want to get
2024 is
hold on.
ending.
I don't want to get too dramatic. Right. But as 2024 is coming to a close, it's not anything what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Looking back over the year, we've had some incredible highs and some incredible lows, which is how life goes, right?
Yeah.
It's not how I thought it would look as we sit here and we talk on this podcast that we've created and the studio in our house. Like, it's not at all what I thought it would look like.
Yeah.
And it is so much fucking cooler.
Oh, yeah?
Than I could have ever thought.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm not just talking about the podcast. I'm talking about our life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't where I thought I would be a year ago.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe that this is where I'm at. I can't believe that this is the phase of life and healing and growth and experience. And like earlier in the conversation, talking about how, well, I'm just meeting my needs. That's a concept that I wouldn't have even been able to really understand a year ago. I'm like, yeah, I meet my needs. I take care of myself. I do the things. And I'm like, you really don't though, dude.
Yeah.
You know? So that's been really amazing. I'm really grateful for that.
That's really cool, babe. I'm really happy for you.
Are you having one of those?
That's just cool that's like, that's a big deal, babe.
I know.
That's really big. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you having one of those? My experience has been a little bit different over here.
I don't have the humor with it right now.
Yeah.
Like, this has been a hell of a year. Things.
It has been a hell of a year.
I'm trying to not cry. But it's like that, like I'm at the stop crying. Ugh. I'm at the like I'm on the mountain right now, so I don't want to cry at the end. I don't want to cry. I'm so mad that I can't like make it stop. So soon, who knows? Soon I'm going to be able to look at that and see all the ways that this has been a good year. But right now, I'm very much in the lessons right now. And that's okay. If
totally
it's this
okay.
hard, that means that that's this much growth.
Yeah. It's
Hard
totally
is growth.
Okay.
So, or at least that's how I'm choosing. Like, I'm not getting through these lessons without learning something. I'm just learning still right now. I don't quite have the, but there's a lot of beauty. And it's been a hell of a year.
Yeah. It's been really wonderful, though. I mean, like with you, I've had such incredible, I think back over our year and what we've experienced together this year and some of the like legitimate just moments that you and I have shared with one another. We've had more than a handful of really cool, special moments with just me and you. You know, I've been really, really grateful for those.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like hoping you would keep talking so I could finish like
Collecting
myself. Then you paused. It's speaking to the difficulties of the year, it doesn't, minimize the wonderful parts
of course
that have been there. And yeah, we've had a lot of really good, exciting and loving and growing moments.
I want to share another thought with you, babe, before we wrap.
I'm really.
It was last night when you were in the bathroom trying to get my attention while I'm laying in bed. The way that our bedroom is set up, we've got a wonderful big master bedroom and a master bathroom. And obviously the bed is right next to the door to the bathroom. So I'm laying in bed and you're going to the bathroom and you're not yelling at me. You're not angry or anything like that, but you're speaking loudly to get my attention as you're in the bathroom getting ready and, doing whatever it is that you do before you go to bed at night. And I'm not listening to you because I'm zoning out, looking at my phone and caught up in a reel with Duncan Trussell and Christina P. So I'm listening to that and paying attention to that and hearing just portions of what you're saying. I feel so terrible right now because you're in this moment and it's like, you're like, cool. So you weren't listening to me because you were listening to Duncan Trussell and Christina P.
Right? Got it. Check.
Yeah. But she had cancer this year. And I think if I'm correct, and I could be wrong, but I think she had a double mastectomy. And so she went through this really difficult experience this year. And she was talking about what she's recognized in her life is that every time she has like the oh shit moments in life, like the hardest moments, every time it feels like everything is, oh my God, how are we going to get through this catastrophic moment in life? It is accompanied with a huge, incredible, amazing thing.
Yeah.
It's like every time, and that's what the reel was. That's what the focus, that's what I was distracted by, was she was talking about this from the perspective of like every time in her life she's been able to look and track and see that when really shitty things happen, right on the heels of that is amazing things. And I would agree with that totally.
Right.
And I feel like we are experiencing that as we speak, where 2024 has just been a rotten, shitastic fucking hardship after hardship after hardship. And I think that coming on the heels of it is just some incredible magic coming our way. So I'm pretty excited for it.
It's time to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Friday. Go to YouTube. Let's figure out what time it's going to be at.
Maybe.
No, hold on. I know.
Do you?
Yeah, because I already figured it out.
Oh,
it's
okay.
6 p.m. Eastern. We haven't.
We heard it first together, folks.
6 p.m. Eastern next Friday the 20th. Join us live over on YouTube for a fun episode of I don't want to say it's Dinner Time Live because I feel like it's an homage to Dinner Time Live.
It's an homage.
We're going to be cooking and having lots of fun, and it's going to be, we don't know what the fuck it's going to be. It's going to be exciting.
My friend and Jamie and I get to hang out.
Yeah.
And drink while you guys cook
Ben and
amazingness for us.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to that.
It's going to be a blast.
Right.
So we're going to turn our kitchen into a studio, and we're going to do the whole 9 yards where we light everything up and record it. And you can come hang out with us next Friday the 20th. Come hang out with us for the evening and enjoy the Friends Giving.
I don't think it's December.
Holiday. We got to come up with a name for it, though. I don't think
that's the one.
Because I got to title the thumbnail something. So we'll figure that out.
Okay. We got this. We can figure it out.
This is funny, too, like behind the scenes. This is going to be, like, it's a big event in the sense of there's going to be a lot to do around it. The cooking, the planning, the production. I get to set up all of this stuff. Not the chairs and stuff, but the lights and the camera. Like, it's a lot of production involved in doing this. And we're going to do it, like, full out. It's a week away. We haven't done anything about it. I don't know what it's called. I barely have anything finished for it. But it's a really good example of how I tend to work best. Yeah. It's the ADHD thing. Yes, baby. It's that fucking thing where it's like, okay, it'll be ready.
Right.
We will be ready come Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern.
There's a meme that I relate to, and
It's
you
what we
just
did with our last live
described it,
with
right?
the Halloween one.
The Halloween live. You described it perfectly. It's so funny. It's like the when the teacher says this is not an assignment that you can do the night before, and then the dog face is like, bet.
All signs point. Sorry, did you just place a bet?
Right.
Did you just say I couldn't do this the night before?
Right.
Yeah, we'll be ready.
We'll be ready.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I have
too.
I'm going to be making something. I haven't told you this.
Okay.
I'm going to be.
I assumed you were cooking.
We are cooking.
Sorry.
Actually,
What are you going to be making?
The fun part is you and Jamie are actually going to do all the cooking.
Well,
Ben and I are going to.
shit.
No, I'm teasing. I'm not going to tell you what I'm cooking.
Okay.
But I've got 2 things in mind.
Okay.
That are surprises.
Okay.
That you're going to be incredibly excited about.
I'm already excited.
Because you said the other day, because I made that joke. Where
I know where
like,
it is.
You know what I'm cooking?
Well, if
you
it's
have
from
no
what we
idea.
said the other day.
No, you have no idea.
No. Okay.
I promise you have no clue. Because as soon as I thought of them, I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Ooh.
I got so excited when I thought of it.
I'm excited.
So on the podcast, when you find, like, when I reveal to you, to everybody, right? Everybody, come find out.
Hey, just tell them. I'll plug my ears.
Just tell them. I'll just,
right?
Yeah.
I'll just over here. It'll be fine. I'm like, la, 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 la.
Yeah, you have no idea what I'm going to be making. But when you find out, you're going to get so excited.
I am already excited.
You're going to just be like, oh my gosh. And then you're going to get to watch it happen.
Yeah.
So a lot of the food, not a lot of the food, the majority of the food, there might be a handful of things that we cook ahead of time, right? But you're going to watch us cook. You're going to watch the whole thing happen. We're going to make you guys a meal.
Yeah.
And this thing that I'm thinking about right now that's going to be a surprise for you is going to happen live. I'm going to be making this live. And not only am I going to be making it live, I'm going to be making it live for the first time. And you're just going to flip.
Oh,
you're going to be so excited for it.
It's not, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, baby. Now your brain just went.
I know. I was thinking it was something that it was one of those like, oh, you haven't had this of mine.
You haven't
had. Well, you haven't had it either if you haven't made it for the first time.
I know.
And so now I don't have a database of collections of what could it be. Because if you haven't made it yet.
What's so interesting?
What's that?
Is I'm so confident that I can make these. That
these.
Shit. We might have given up too much, folks. But I'm so confident that, because you're like, you've never had this.
Right? I've never had it ever. I've never ate it in my life.
No. What I'm saying is,
have I had it? Have I not?
Next week, tune in Friday, December 20th, 6 p.m. Eastern, over on YouTube. Go subscribe to us now already. And we'll have it all figured out by then. Thank you, everybody.
It's going to be delicious.
It's going to be delicious, and it's going to be fun.
I'm so excited.
And come hang out with us on the 20th. And then, we'll be back. That'll be the last episode of the year. That live episode will obviously be a podcast episode that you can watch later on as well. But come join us live. But that will be the last episode of the Steph and Craig Show for 2024. And we'll be back in 2025 with new episodes.
Yes.
More of the rawness and the realness and the who-ness of who we are, actually.
Who's and what's it's galore.
As soon as we figured it out, right?
Yeah. We got this.
Yeah, we do got this, babe. I'm so confident in us.
Yeah.
I love you. That was to you.
I love you too. And we love you. And we love you.
Expect the best.
Plan for the greatest.
And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
We got a wild ride. Wait and see, you and me. We were meant to be.
We want to make something perfectly clear. This podcast is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a substitute for professional advice. We're sharing with you our own personal experiences and insights, things we have found to be helpful on our healing journey. But we are not licensed therapists. If you need help, it's important to seek out a qualified professional. Remember, we believe that we all do better when we heal together. See you soon.